do it. Hey, Laura. Thank you.
Good job.
All right, we're calling this meeting to order Monday, May 18th at 6 o'clock. Crosby, do roll call, please.
Jason?
Here.
Crosby's here. Mike?
Here.
Jake?
Here.
Jim?
Here.
Dale is not here. Eric is excused. Carolyn?
Here.
Craig?
All right, meeting has been posted. Everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, up first we have recognitions.
There we go. Thank you. Jody, would you please come up? As an administrator, Jody's nominators wrote, as an administrator, no one likes it when key staff members are out. In food service, this is especially true, as regardless of the absences throughout the department, the meals must still be prepared and ready to serve on time, day in and day out. Because of this, we often look to other kitchen staff to step up and fill in to keep the kitchens running. Now it is one thing to volunteer to be available in your own building when one of your coworkers is out, but it's another to volunteer to be on call and help out at our largest production kitchen with a 5 a.m. start. One staff member has risen to this challenge this year and has done both, and that staff member is Jody Hastings. Earlier this year, we had many days of vacancies at our central kitchen, and Jody was available for all of it. She worked in our bakery, learned how to make main entrees for 1,500 elementary students, worked in our 60-gallon steam kettles, and operated our 80-quart mixer like a pro. Then, when family tragedy struck one of our kitchen leads, Jody stepped in and took control of that kitchen week in and week out. Jody has excelled at everything we have asked of her, learning the tasks of food ordering and filling out production records, following large-scale recipes, waking up at dawn to help feed thousands, and she does it all with a positive attitude and a smile. Her dedication to the department and the district, making sure that the meals are ready no matter the circumstances, is why we are delighted to nominate Jody as the May's Employee of the Month.
Woo. Oh, you got to smile for a picture. Hold on.
Jody, you want to say anything?
I was very shocked, but very pleasant surprise. So yes, I really do appreciate it, and I tell her I honestly find it fun. To get to learn all that stuff, to go. I'm normally at Clarendon, so it's a smaller school, to then get to go to Central Kitchen was like exciting to see the big scale of things. So thanks for calling on me tonight. Anytime.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Jody. All right, up next is our student report, and we have Eagleville Elementary with us. And parents, if you want to come up here, you can come in the front right here. You can come behind us, wherever you want to go.
Okay. Hello, my name is Mason. I am joined by Maddie and Megan. We are sixth graders, and we are all on the student council. We are here about the events that have made Eagleville special in the second half of the year. Recycling and composting. Even on cold winter days, we continue to compost our extra lunch and collect recyclables, saving about 150 pounds of material from landfills each week. Winter school dance / roller skate night. In late January and early February, we hosted our dance night at school and a roller skate night at a local roller skating rink. Each event brought in over 100 students and family members. 5th and 6th grade basketball. Despite our small class sizes, we were still able to have both a girls' basketball team and a boys' basketball team, made up of Eagleville students from the Mukwonago Park and Rec League. Last year, our girls' team won the Sportsmanship Award, and this year the boys won the Sportsmanship Award, the first time ever back-to-back for our school. indoor hydroponic vegetable growing. We were fortunate to have received the Fork Farm indoor growing unit in our partnership with the Mukwonago School District Food Service Program, and through a donation from the Mukwonago Rotary Club, the entire school was able to try the lettuce, and many thought it was great, so they wanted seconds. Reading Rumble. There were 9 different teams at Eagleville that were a part of the Reading Rumble. Each team was responsible for reading and preparing for questions from 11 different books. The team known as the Golden Trio won for our school and went on to compete at district level. Talent goes to work. As a way of getting us thinking about different career paths, Talent has been to nearly 30 different places, giving us details about what job is all about, what type of education or experience is needed, and what makes the career enjoyable.
One School, One Book. This year we read the book A Boy Called Bat, which is a story of a family taking in a stray baby skunk, but becomes a story of caring and friendship. We did so many fun learning activities to make connections to the book. Outdoor Science. Every Friday afternoon we learn about nature outside in our outdoor classroom. Recently we have had many nature-related learning activities and a guest speaker from the Waukesha Nature Conservancy. Interplanetary Convention. The students from Mr. Stibe's 5th and 6th and Miss Salzer's 4th and 5th grade class researched outer space and a certain planet and created aliens that could withstand the conditions of that planet. Earth Day Community Cleanup. This year for Earth Day, we cleaned up all the different areas on our school property, and we were also given the opportunity to clean up the Clarks Park area that is next to our school. The neighborhood was very appreciative of our efforts. High Flyer recognitions. Nearly 150 high flyers have been given out this year for students who go above and beyond in helping each other or putting in extra time to help with different school projects. All school STEM activity. Based on the book Bartholomew and the Oobleck, we split into groups and worked together in our groups to create a gooey substance called oobleck. Then we had to make spacecrafts that would land but not sink into the material. Classroom mushroom growing. Each class was able to grow 2 different types of mushrooms, lion's mane and blue oysters. Teachers and students worked together to prepare them for taste testing. They were really good. Tulips for Journey North project. The tulip bulbs that we planted in the fall came out in early April. We share this information with the Journey North project to help track migration of butterflies and other insects based on when certain plants bloom. Art display / talent show. We held our annual talent show and art display at the Mukwonago Greenwald Performing Arts Center in April. We had over 25 different acts in the show, and every student had a piece of art up for display. Stomp Out Bullying Campaign. In partnership with Children's Hospital, we participated in an anti-bullying campaign this spring where students created posters to promote kindness and respect. Because of our efforts, our school was awarded a $1,500 grant to support a positive school for all students. Band, choir, orchestra spring concert. After months of hard work and practice, the band, choir, and orchestra showed their musical skills at an all-school concert during the day and a concert for families in the evening. Maker Fair. The Maker Fair was held in early May. There were 15 different student vendors selling things that they had created, from baked goods to jewelry to decorative home items, etc. It gave the students a good experience in operating a business. Any questions for us?
I saw there was a Bigfoot in one of those pictures. Do you guys believe in Bigfoot? Yes or no?
No.
The oblique thing is pretty cool. Did you guys ever try to walk on it?
No.
All right, you got to talk to your teacher, your science teacher, and get in a big bin and making a lot of it and seeing if you can walk on it, if you could run across it or walk across it. It's going to be a fun one.
Really good job tonight. Thank you.
Very good job.
All right, up next we have citizens' comments.
We are now entering the portion of the meeting for citizens' comments, whereby citizens may address the board. It is important to note that the board will not dialogue with community members during the citizens' comments section of the meeting. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to make his or her comments. We will signal you when you are at the 2.5-minute mark to begin to wrap up your comments. We expect all speakers to honor the time limit, refrain from using inappropriate language, and be respectful in their comments. Citizens who do not meet these expectations may be prohibited from speaking at future board/committee meetings. Speakers are to address the board, not the audience. The school board does not endorse any comments made by members of the committee here tonight. We would like to remind our community members of the impact of their words on others, and our children are watching. We commit to listening to you in a respectful manner and ask that you do the same. We expect the audience will be respectful of the speakers and of the board and refrain from responding with verbal comments, cheering, applause, or behavior that will detract from the meeting. If proper decorum is not adhered to, the board president can suspend citizens' comments. Please note that no obstructions can be created between the board and the audience. Visual aids cannot be used, and the area behind the speaker will be clear during public comment. Also, to respect our speakers and meeting participants, please silence your cell phones. Thank you. First up, Chris Nowak, please.
Good evening. Tonight you are preparing to vote on a significantly reducing opportunities for our 4th and 5th grade students through a restructuring that ultimately results in fewer opportunities for some of the youngest learners in our district. I understand school districts are facing financial pressure, inflation is real, enrollment challenges are real, state funding concerns are real. But when money is tight, priorities matter most. Families across this community make difficult financial decisions every single day. When budgets are tighter, they cut back on discretionary spending. They postpone trips, they eat at home more often, and most importantly, they try to preserve opportunities for their children as long as possible. That is what responsible stewardship looks like. For months, this community has heard the same message from district leadership. Enrollment is down, revenue is tight, and sacrifices must be made. So as a parent and taxpayer, I filed a public records request to review district P-card spending. What I found does not reflect an organization operating in financial hardship. In less than a year, district records show over $47,000 spent on adult food expenditures. $47,000 on adult food expenditures, not student expenditures. Catered lunches, conference meals, coffee bars, snacks, pizza lunches, and staff treats. These are not Fund 60 expenditures. In addition, there was over $56,000 spent on conferences, travel, lodging, airfare, parking, and retreats. At the same time, over the last 5 years, the district added 4.5 administrative positions, costing taxpayers nearly $500,000 annually in salary and benefits, while the student-to-teacher ratios remained essentially unchanged. And now tonight, this board is preparing to reduce opportunities for elementary students. That is the disconnect many taxpayers are struggling with. This is not about attacking educators or claiming professional development has no value. Training matters, staff matter, but priorities matter too. Taxpayers are justified in asking a very straightforward question. If enrollment is declining, if money is tight, and if sacrifices are necessary, why does administrative spending, along with adult spending on non-essential items, continue to grow while student opportunities are reduced? Before this board asks children to give something up, I believe taxpayers expect leadership to demonstrate the same level of restraint families are expected to show in their own homes. Because ultimately, this vote is about more than music programming. It's about priorities. It's about trust, and it's about whether this community believes student opportunities are truly being placed first. Tonight's decision will matter far beyond this room. Parents and taxpayers are paying attention to what is being protected, what is being reduced, and what message that sends about the values and priorities of this board. I respectfully urge you to consider that carefully before casting your vote this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Raina Jelish.
Good evening. First, I want to thank the parents, students, and community members who have spent months speaking out against these proposed changes to the music program. My 6-year commitment to Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra ended with my final concert this month, so I'm honestly glad to finally have the opportunity to be here and speak for myself. I think there has been a fundamental fallacy at the foundation of this process since day one. When I attended the first meeting, the issue seemed to be pull-out lessons. Later, it seemed to be finances. Somehow, those two things have continued to be treated as if they are the same issue, even though they clearly are not. And since pull-out lessons keep coming up, let's talk about that. I can say with near certainty that I have missed more class time for music than any student in Mukwonago School District history. I started orchestra in 4th grade, added band in 5th. I continued both through middle school, even when taking both required extra work and flexibility because I couldn't be in both classes. I participated in high-level vocal music at the same time. In high school, I stayed in orchestra all 4 years, choir all 4 years, and show choir and band 2 years each. And now, with 10 days of school left, I have a 4.0 GPA, 14 AP courses, a Girl Scout Gold Award, I'm a National Merit Scholar, and even though I found out today that I was not selected as a recipient, I was one of less than 7,000 students in the country nominated for the Presidential Scholar Award. I was also admitted into multiple Ivy League schools, the top biomedical engineering program in the country, and my first choice school, which I will be attending in the fall. All that to say, missing class was never the problem. I know I'm somewhat of an outlier student, but I am absolutely certain pull-out lessons are not the problem for other students, or most teachers either. Learning how to manage competing priorities was one of the greatest skills this district gave me. Some of you have multiple children, or know families who do. If two important events happen at the same time, you figure it out. You prioritize, you communicate. You make the best decision you can, and you make sure that the other commitment is still respected. That's life. That's also exactly what I learned here. This year, I took multivariable calculus, a third semester college math course. It was probably the most academically difficult class I've ever taken, but the most practical life skills I've learned did not come from that class. They came from learning how to communicate with teachers, navigate conflicts, manage my time, advocate for myself, and succeed across multiple demanding commitments,
30 seconds.
all of which were learned by being involved in our outstanding music program for 9 full years. In a few months, I'll be heading to a top 20 university where people will absolutely ask how I became successful. I want to be able to say Mukwonago gave me these opportunities, but I don't want to have to say that Mukwonago used to offer them and I was just one of the lucky ones. Thank you.
Thank you. Angie Jellish?
Good evening. I have been consistently disappointed in this board's unwillingness to demand complete answers and valid data. Last month, Dr. Cook was asked a direct question. Had he spoken to teachers about pull-out lessons? Do you remember the answer? He said yes, but then he justified that answer by describing a story relayed through a student about a teacher asking whether that student could be pulled from music for something in their class. It was not teacher feedback, it was filtered through a student, and even if it had come directly from a teacher, it would have been one teacher. The question was whether teachers had been asked. This board was offered a survey that could have gone directly to teachers to ask exactly that question and gather actual feedback at scale. That suggestion went unanswered, and that is exactly why some of us do not view months later invitations to meet as meaningful engagement when direct questions and practical suggestions were ignored when they actually mattered. Now, as the parent of the student you just heard from, I have talked to teachers about pull-out lessons, a lot of them. My daughter, like every other senior, has completed the 27.5 credits required for graduation. But remember how many music classes she took? Well, the 27.5 credits she needed for graduation would not even need to include a single one of those classes. So that's how many non-music classes that had to be worked around for lessons. She had her first regular study hall this year, which means she wasn't the typical student missing 3 lessons per quarter. She averaged roughly 1 music lesson every week for multiple years. So yes, she, and sometimes I, had many conversations with teachers about coordination, expectations, and how to make that work. And you know what happened? It worked. So can we please stop pretending that pull-out lessons are or ever were the issue here? Because what keeps happening is the conflation of an alleged instructional problem with what appears to be a financial problem. Those are not the same thing. And if this district is trying to solve a budget puzzle by dismantling valuable opportunities for hundreds of children, then at least be honest about that. Proposal number 1, thankfully the recommended option, but still what I'd call the lesser of two evils, is not a great option. Proposal number 2 was catastrophic. And yet, I guess we should all be thankful option 2 is not what's being presented for a vote tonight. But all that said, I'm here to remind you all that neither proposal is supported by meaningful data that identifies the actual problem,
30 seconds.
proves the proposed solution, or clearly demonstrates the financial path being solved. I urge you all to go all in with your boldness and continue to reject any proposal that only wins on the appearance of compromise but hasn't even entered the game on its merits. Thank you.
Thank you. Danielle Gordon.
Good evening.
I have a few questions about the budget that's being presented tonight with the vouchers and receipts as it concerns the P-card purchases. I am concerned with spending in the district. For example, on page 17 of the document, the district paid $250 for Quick Trip gift cards for Career Day speakers as a thank you for volunteers. I know Clarendon thinks they're high interest day speakers too, but it comes from the PTG funds, not district funds. There were other gift card purchases as well for special education teacher incentives. The dollar amount of the gift cards and the quantity wasn't clearly listed. On page 48, I noticed Big Bend Elementary School purchased a 3D printer for the library for $799. Does every elementary school have a 3D printer? What is the purpose? And is it tied to required state curriculum and teaching standards? On page 49, the district paid a $3,499 Amazon Business Prime annual renewal fee. How many years has the district been paying this fee? This seems like a convenience for staff, not necessarily a need required for student learning. Wouldn't a bulk order for office supplies from a vendor be more cost-effective than an Amazon order? I ran out of time and stopped looking at page 68 of the 122 pages. I hope that the school board took the time to look through all 122 pages and asks these questions. Please don't just give a blanket approval without asking questions. Many of you ran for election on the promise that you are fiscally conservative. Please uphold that promise. Maybe if we were more frugal in our spending as a district, we wouldn't need to be cutting band at the elementary level. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, that's it? Up next is consent agenda. We have approval of the committee of the whole meeting minutes from May 11, 2026, and approval of vouchers and receipts. Any questions or discussion? Approved by consent. Policies are next, and Joe, are you leading that?
Yep, so we have in front of you the policies that we brought forward last week. Just wanted to put them on the agenda, give you an opportunity to ask questions if you have any questions on them this evening. Otherwise, we will be bringing them forward for action in June.
I have one question. It is on policy 6605, and it has to do with the cybersecurity certifications of the platforms that we might look at. So it says that we're looking for anything that is a SOC 2 Type 1 certification, and I'm just wondering why we're not going to require a SOC 2 Type 2. That is a more stringent cybersecurity than Type 1.
Sure. So that's a baseline proposal that came from Neola. That wasn't something that I suggested or sought out. It's much stronger than what the old language was, where it clearly lacked. And what they're looking for is the crowdfunding platform, whatever website that is, that service. The SOC certification is an audit saying, do you adhere to your own financial controls either at one point in time over a period of time? So I could be comfortable going in either direction to make sure that we're working with somebody that adheres to that. So for your information, we work with Classmunity, which is a Wisconsin-based crowdfunding service that works primarily with school districts, and we've been working with them for about 3 years now. So we would make sure that they have what we're looking for if we were to continue on past our current 12 months that we're signed up to work with them.
Do we know if they have a Type 2 by chance?
I have not looked at what they currently have.
Because I guess my preference would be if we can get to a Type 2 requirement, because so what you said is true. A Type 1 is a certain period of time.
Yep, it's a snapshot in time, like on June 30th, are you?
Correct. So that means on June 30th, they were compliant with all of their, policies and standards and everything like that. A Type 2 it's usually done at a year at a time, and it is an entire audit of that year, typically done by a third party. So my preference would be if we can find an organization or our existing organization that is a Type 2, I would prefer that we have a stricter.
So we could, keep the language as is and say this is our baseline, we'll look for Type 1. However, if we can improve upon that and get to something more strong, certainly we can do that.
Sounds good.
We'll look into that for the June meeting.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to nerd out on my cybersecurity knowledge.
Show off.
I know.
Any other questions or discussion on policies? And these are coming back for one.
We'll have them on the committee of the whole in June,
Okay.
and then up for action in June at the board meeting.
Okay. Let's see. Student learning.
Okay, I have my director's report. At the committee of the whole meeting, I had a number of different topics. We reviewed 2 different music proposals, and then based on discussion with the board, we are bringing forward proposal number 1 tonight for board approval. We reviewed an extended trip proposal for our HOSA club to attend the International Leadership Conference in Indianapolis. We will also be looking for board approval for that trip tonight. I gave an update on our curriculum council. We had our last meeting of this school year, discussed a number of different topics, and have set our dates for next year. I also gave an update on our elementary progress reporting work and a recommendation for sunsetting the elementary progress reports, which is coming forward tonight for approval from the board. And then Christine Perkins was here and shared an update on academic career planning and our education for employment programming. That's all I have.
Excellent. Student services report.
I gave an update last week on our final behavior council meeting. That was on Tuesday, April 28th. We talked about social media and mental health and anxiety, and so we will continue our work into next year, and I'm excited to continue the council. It was a good group of people.
And Tom, finance and facility report.
All right, so I gave the school board an update. I took a snapshot last Monday, May 11th. At that point in time, we had 89% of our school year done, according to student contact days. So 11% is remaining. On the screen, I'm sharing with you how much of our budget as a percentage we have remaining as of May 11th. So as of now, I have no concerns about our overall budget being over budget. I've also tracked our salary expenditures, and I feel confident that we'll be 1% under budget there. So I don't have any concerns at this time regarding the 25-26 budget. I'm also providing, as I always do, a snapshot of our cash balance. So on the screen right now, if you take a look at that graph, that is the month of March from the 17-18 school year all the way through the current time. So as of March 30, end of March there, we had $21.4 million, which is down from last year. However, we did transfer money out of Fund 10 into Fund 46 at the end of last fiscal year, and we also put a very sizable payment into our school security system. So that gives you a snapshot. And just as a reminder, on the screen there shows all of 24-25 cash positions. So you can see that our cash position goes up and down. In November each year, we hit our low water mark in terms of cash. So just giving you a snapshot. It shows our health as a school district, financially speaking, that we have adequate cash reserves. We do not have to short-term borrow and incur an unnecessary interest cost by loaning money from our local bank to make payroll, to make payments, so on and so forth. I am reporting to you now. Last week, there was a lot of movement for special education funding. There was a compromise that we discussed that came out last Monday, where Governor Evers, Speaker of the Assembly Robin Voss, and Devin LeMahieu, the President of the Senate, came up with a compromise to help redistribute the $2.5 billion surplus from the current biennial budget. That would have meant about $400,000 more in special ed funding this year and $1.1 million next year. It also would have led to a reduction in MASD taxpayers funding our revenue limit by reducing $1.7 million in tax levy paid by our taxpayers. Ultimately, it failed. It was super disappointing to see an awesome compromise come together. This thing worked for schools, it worked for taxpayers, it seemed to work for everybody, but it failed in the Senate. So nothing to report now other than that it failed. All right. At the foods, just last Monday, on May 11th, we did an update on the food service program. So the intent now, just to reiterate and rehash that very quickly, at the elementary level, we'll begin to provide a third option of meal choices each day, and we'll build a budget for 26-27 that allows for the purchase of a combi oven and a micro steamer at each of our elementary schools, except for Eagleville, because we are working on the space constraints that they have there in their kitchen area. At the middle school, we'll aim to move forward with growing a la carte options. And at the high school level, we'll make no changes at this time outside of menu adjustments, and we'll continue to evaluate the food service models available to us once the new dietary guidelines are released by the USDA. In the meantime, we're going to take a field trip with about 8 high school students to Muskego and to Brookfield Central to see how their food service program operates as a non-member of the National School Lunch Program. And then lastly, I gave an update also last Monday that we will hit our goal of producing a balanced budget for 26-27. So I'll bring that to the board. If you approve of that budget, that's what we'll roll into the annual meeting with in August. That's all I got.
Thank you, Tom.
Question.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Tom,
Yes.
Not to put you on the spot about the entire process of the Wisconsin legislature, but does that mean there's no budget passed and they revert back to the one from, because it's every 2 years, or their budget's every 2 years?
Yeah.
Or is there a chance some of this can come back and possibly get in there?
So this was more or less an amendment or an add-on to the current biennial budget. So that biennial budget was passed last year. This was a way to add the intent for special ed funding, because that really seems to be the focus. Special education funding, when they wrote the current biennial budget last year, they intended for school districts, for whatever they spend in special ed, a 42% reimbursement 1 year later and a 45% reimbursement in the upcoming school year. That the intent is always there, but the actual reimbursement is more like 35%. So as a means to live up to, here's what we intended to do, let's actually follow through and hit the numbers we said, was to propose this kind of, I don't want to call it budget repair bill, but just this budget amendment. And just that single piece failed. The rest of the biennial budget stays intact.
Thanks.
Yes.
All right, up next is action items, hires, retirements, and resignations.
Thank you. Tonight we have one retirement that came in. Lori Borchert, 6th grade at Prairie View Elementary School, has asked for her retirement effective June 30th, 2026.
I'll make a motion. We accept Lori Borchert's retirement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And I don't know what to say now. Questions or comments? Thank you, Lori. And all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Anyone opposed? All right. Motion carries. Thank you. Designation of official newspaper and bank depository.
Just looking for approval to designate the Waukesha Freeman as our official newspaper, and Citizens Bank and the local government investment pool as our official depositories. That would be for the 26-27 school year.
I make a motion that we designate the Waukesha Freeman as the official newspaper and Citizens Bank and the local government investment pools as MASD's official depositories for 2026 through 2027.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say no. Motion carries. Up next is a St. James attendance boundaries.
Okay, so we are, I'm proposing tonight that we establish the attendance boundaries as were proposed by the Archdiocese, as outlined on the memo that you have. However, there's 2 families currently attending St. Joe's that we've heard from that would have their transportation impacted by this change. So as to not to kind of have a hold harmless place in this for them, is I'm proposing that we grandfather these 2 families, that they can continue to receive transportation to go to St. Joe's. However, they would be charged, much like a walker getting on a bus who isn't entitled to transportation. We would treat this in the same manner, and we would charge them for the opportunity to ride the bus, and then they would keep that right as long as they continue to attend St. Joe's. I talked with the administration there. They're cool with it. The families seem to be great. I think this is the compromise, so that's the recommendation we go with.
I make a motion to approve the recommendation as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say no. Motion carries. And before and after school daycare.
All right, so we're looking for approval to continue on with what we have, which is to have the YMCA operate before and after school daycare at Big Bend and Prairie View for the next school year and the one to follow, and to allow Kids Connection to continue to operate Clarendon, Rolling Hills section in Eagleville, along with operating summer daycare in one of our elementary buildings, which is usually and preferably Clarendon. We'll continue to evaluate Innovation Learning, who put a bid in, but we're going to keep them under consideration and track their progress as they enter the Wisconsin market.
All right, looking for a motion.
I make a motion to accept the before and after school daycare as briefed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any question or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say no. And motion carries. All right, 2026-2027 health insurance rates and plan design adjustments.
Okay, so last week I briefed you. The recommendation here is to increase our single and family plan premiums by 15%, and then to adjust the primary, the co-pays that I have outlined in the memo as I stated.
Make a motion to approve the 2026-2027 health insurance premium and copay adjustments as stated.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or discussions on this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Elementary progress reports.
Okay, last week I shared an update on the work we've been doing around elementary progress reporting. Over the last 2 years, we've really been reviewing this process and collecting feedback from both teachers and parents. At the end of last year, we worked with our teacher leaders to make some adjustments and have received great feedback regarding those adjustments from our parent advisories and our curriculum council. So we are recommending that we sunset elementary progress reports, giving the teachers the time to focus on the information that they provide at conferences using a consistent conference guide, and then ensuring that they are providing detailed and specific comments on the report cards and engaging in ongoing communication with parents throughout each trimester. So we are looking for board approval on sunsetting elementary progress reports.
I make a recommendation to sunset the progress reports as presented with the new elementary progress reporting recommendation.
Second.
You making a recommendation or a motion?
Sorry. I make a motion that we accept the current proposal that she just briefed. It's a lot of words.
I'll second that motion.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no.
Aye.
And motion carries. And next is music.
Okay, so at the committee of the whole meeting last week, we reviewed 2 different music proposals, and then based on discussion are bringing back proposal number 1 tonight. This proposal was initially presented in April. This is the proposal that was developed after an extensive collaborative process with our music teachers and reflects various input from a broad range of stakeholders. So I will briefly go through the proposal. So in terms of starting points, we have orchestra starting at the elementary level with grade 5 and band starting at grade 6. No change to elementary choir, which is currently offered as a club, and that would be the recommendation to continue. In terms of the elementary program for orchestra, starting at 5th grade, students would have 2 sessions per week. One of those would be a pull-out lesson, a small group lesson with their instrument group for 20 minutes, and we have some clearly defined parameters around those pull-out lessons. And then they would have 1 whole group rehearsal during the lunchtime recess. For the secondary program at the middle and high school, band and choir would utilize the 2-to-1 co-teaching model with the small group lessons embedded during their class time. So there would be no pull-out lessons there. Orchestra would not use the 2-to-1 co-teaching model. They would have 1 teacher assigned per class with limited pull-out lessons of about 3 per quarter. Again, they would have those clearly defined parameters for the pull-out lessons. And then we are continuing to recommend that grade 7 music would no longer be a required course, but instead would be offered as an elective option. So the reasons we are recommending this proposal is this proposal was developed collaboratively with our music team, and the team had consensus around this proposal. The proposal is staffing neutral, does not require additional staff, and does not reduce staff. It significantly reduces the pull-out instruction and additionally establishes expectations and parameters in order to minimize disruption to learning time. It provides elementary orchestra instruction during the school day, which was something that was very important to the team, and then creates a sustainable and manageable structure for our staff without requiring extensive travel between schools. At the meeting, there was also some additional discussion on opportunities related to club options and community outreach programs, and then additionally summer school. We continue to remain open to exploring those opportunities, and we will continue to work with our staff to make sure we are providing robust summer school offerings. So we are requesting that the board take action to approve proposal number 1 as our music program beginning in the 27-28 school year.
I'll make the motion. We accept music proposal number 1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any question or discussions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say no. Jason, I cut you off. Did you say aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say no. And motion carries. Up next is extended trip for HOSA.
Okay, at the meeting last week, we reviewed a proposal for our HOSA club to attend the International Leadership Conference in Indianapolis. This is occurring in June, June 17th through the 21st, with HOSA advisor and MHS teacher Christy Peterson organizing and chaperoning. So we are looking for the board to take action to approve that trip.
Make a motion to approve the trip.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 And opposed say no. Motion carries. Parkview Middle School, let's see, transportation update.
Yep. So at the meeting last week, we shared an update on our Parkview Middle School transition work, specifically around our schedule proposal and our proposal for course requirements. And we, at the meeting, there were some questions around 2 of the items in that proposal, making our business and employability skills course an elective option, and then some questions around the purpose and structure of homeroom. So Luke is here again tonight, and we're going to share some information with the board, and then we will be requesting approval of the schedule and the course requirements as proposed. Tom, next slide. So again, at the meeting, there were some questions around our proposal to make business and employability skills an elective. Those questions were the rationale behind using this elective model and how we would ensure that all students can develop these essential skills. And then around homeroom, there were some questions around ensuring that the homeroom time is used productively and clarifying expectations, and then also some discussion around the purpose and balance of study hall and homeroom within our schedule. Next slide, and you can go one more, Tom. So in regards to business and employability skills, this is something that is really taught across multiple settings and over time. Some of the places that these skills are developed are through our academic and career planning program, through our advisory and homeroom experiences and lessons at both the middle school and the high school. Our core academic classes also incorporate these skills in a variety of ways that we will talk about. Through our career pathways and our CTE courses, these skills are reinforced. Many of our extracurricular experiences and activities enforce these skills, and then our post-secondary planning opportunities at both middle and high school. So it really is developed intentionally across a student's experience in the district. Next slide. So last week, Christine Perkins was here, and she talked about our requirements from the state around academic and career planning. So you can see on the screen some of the topics that are addressed through academic and career planning in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Currently, some of these lessons are taught in various courses, and in looking at our new schedule and course requirements, our proposal is to pull these lessons into homeroom so they are intentionally embedded across the student experience. You can see also on the screen the overlap between the content in our ACP, our academic and career planning lessons, and our business and employability skills course content. There are many shared transferable skills between these two that include things like collaboration, communication, time management, problem solving, and career planning. So these competencies are really distributed across the learning experience and embedded for students, and then students with a deeper interest in developing those skills can go deeper by taking that business and employability skills course. Next slide. Then when we look at the high school level, students have access to a variety of experiences and courses that really reinforce and develop these skills. Some of these are optional courses and experiences, and some of them are required for graduation. So in terms of courses, we have our work seminar course, which is a requirement if students participate in the work experience program. This course covers a variety of employability skills, as well as providing the students with some DPI certificates. We also have our youth apprenticeship program, which is hands-on learning in a career field of the student's interest. We have our personal finance class, which is a required course that covers many of these skills. And then our Principles of Business course, which is an elective, allowing students to really go and apply those skills. Other experiences at the high school, we have a number of robust offerings in CTE. Many of these courses deal directly with business and employability skills. In core classes, students are often giving presentations and engaging in collaborative activities that help to reinforce these skills. We have a number of student clubs that reinforce the skills, and then our Muck Ready Day, which all students participate in, that also reinforce business and employability skills. So it really is a comprehensive K-12 progression. Next slide. So as to the rationale for proposing that this is an elective, some of the benefits of an elective-based approach are that it gives students greater opportunity for choice, for exploration, and taking ownership over their learning. One of the things that we hear frequently is the importance of choice for our students, and that was one of our instructional guarantees. So if it is an elective, students are able to pursue areas of interest to them while still developing these core employability skills through their core classes, through some of their clubs and extracurriculars, as well as through those ACP lessons that will be in homeroom. This allows our business and employability course to be more application-based. One of the things I think that is important to keep in mind is the impact of requiring the course. So in requiring the course, it would reduce elective opportunities for our 8th grade students. So in the current proposal, 7th and 8th grade students would both have 5 semesters of elective choices. One thing that's important to keep in mind is that some of our courses are year-long. So any of our music courses and our world language courses are a year-long elective. So that takes 2 of their 5 semesters for 1 year. If this course were required in 8th grade, then the 8th grade would have less choice than our 7th graders. So our proposal is really based on balancing student opportunity and flexibility while also maintaining career readiness instruction. Next slide. And I'm going to turn it over to Luke to talk about homeroom.
Thank you. Last week when we presented, Dr. Cook referenced the common collaborative spaces in the new building. So we included 2 pictures just to show you kind of, again, what those spaces will look like. Those spaces that you're seeing there are really the steel structures that you're seeing outside the building right now. That is the flooring for that side. Right now, in each grade level, there's a blue side and a gold side. As you can see, what is currently designed out there, you're seeing one of those sides. I can't tell you if it's blue or gold, but they'll build one right on the other side closer to the road that is identical to that. But I wanted to share these pictures because these pictures reference what Dr. Cook was sharing last week about these spaces that are going to allow us to have more accountability with students, both during academic time, but also during homeroom time, because due to the windows in those classrooms, students are going to be able to have more accountability, or teachers are able to have more accountability over students. So currently in a lot of traditional schools, you have 2 things going on. A, you have hallways, and B, you have classrooms without windows into those common spaces. In this current setup that we are building next door, there will be fewer hallways, and students' classes will be kind of in those pods. So as a result, there will be less walking through the hallways, unless you're going to electives, and likewise, teachers can monitor students if you need to send a student out into the hallway to make up a test. As you can see from those depictions, you'll be able to monitor that student while carrying on with your classroom activities. So I just wanted to share that rendering because I thought it was important and relevant to this conversation. Next slide, Tom, thank you. This was a slide that we shared last week as well. Just what do we see the purpose of homeroom in our building? We use it for daily stability and navigation for our students. Academic support certainly plays into our community building and what we do in the building. And then most importantly, skill building and future planning. And the future planning piece Angela just spoke about as well. Next slide, please, Tom. So what we proposed last week and what we're asking you for permission to move forward with tonight is to move forward with a schedule that includes the classes that Angela listed, as well as a 25-minute daily homeroom. We have a blue days and gold days. Our blue days are days where we focus on school-wide lessons, and our gold days are dedicated to instructional time that provide opportunities for academic support, extension, and targeted learning. Tom, if you could switch again, please. As we shared last week, 29 of our 31 neighboring middle schools include a homeroom advisory or intervention period within their schedule. Some of those schools include 2 periods within the day. What we are asking for permission to move forward with, again, is just a single period, not a double period. Thanks, Tom. Last week, we presented some ways that students currently use homeroom. And based on the feedback that you provided us, we wanted to provide some clarity, I guess, around that and share how teachers use their homeroom goal days. So this is just a list, a small list, I guess, of some ways that our teachers use their homeroom goal days. So they provide targeted Tier 2 academic support to students who need additional assistance. Our counselors and social workers lead behavioral academies and meet with students during this time to minimize missed instructional time. So just like our teachers and band teachers don't want to pull students out of class for lessons, I know our counselors likewise don't want to disrupt instruction, because otherwise that student just has to make it up when they get back. So our counselors and social workers use that time to meet with students as well. Behavioral academies are a newer thing in the district for the last 12 months or so. Christine, I think, has probably presented on this previously, but it's an opportunity for us to pull some students and reteach some behavioral skills to small groups of students. The third bullet point up there is offer dedicated support aligned with students' IEPs and 504 plans. Across the district, we have students with individualized education plans. Many times in those educational plans, there's a clause saying that students require additional time on assignments or assessments. Our teachers use that homeroom time to provide that extra time as required by law. And then the fourth bullet point just says that it provides an opportunity for students to retake assessments or demonstrate improved understanding with teachers. One of the things that we, I guess, are asking for tonight, Tom, you can flip, please. One of the things we're asking for tonight is the permission to, I guess, move forward with planning. I think you provided some good feedback last month about how we can strengthen the program that we currently have in place and provide clarity for students and staff. What we're looking for, again, is the ability to move forward with that planning. With permission, we'd like to, on the left there, spend time with staff reviewing non-negotiable building-wide expectations and procedures for homeroom, create a common agenda template for homeroom periods, provide examples of acceptable activities for what students should participate in during these days, provide training on providing intervention and support, conduct administrative walkthroughs, and monitor participation and intervention data. And likewise, I think that's for students too. I think we need to clarify our expectations for staff as well as students. So on the student side, explicit instruction on what homeroom time should be used for. That should be done at the beginning of the year, which we currently do. But I think one way that we can get better is continue to reinforce those expectations throughout the year. And then build routines for how we're going to use that homeroom, as well as, I guess, just develop consequences and rewards for students who are using that time wisely, as well as students who don't use their time as wisely. So that's just a little bit about our homeroom.
Mr. Spielman, can I jump in here for a second?
Of course.
I was contacted by a couple of teachers that are passionate about teaching kids and said, don't take this away, because they do a great job. Parkview does a great job with that, the whole homeroom. I made a mistake called the flex time. It's not flex time. It's actually being productive. And the two teachers were passionate about what they do and how important this time is. So that was my mistake. I call it flex time. It's not. It's fairly important, from what I understand.
It is flex time right now, isn't it?
So I mean, it's flexible time for kids to go and get support from the teachers that they need. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I took it the wrong way, as the wrong flex time, not something that the teachers were you know, it's a good thing. What they're doing now is a good thing. So
Structured.
Thank you, Mike.
So we are looking for the board to approve, as proposed, the schedule that we proposed last week, and then the course requirements.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? I was also contacted by a few people after the last meeting who also said that there are many people that use the time wisely. I was very excited to see the slide 14, just re-reviewing that with students and staff. I stand corrected, and apology to Luke and to Lee, that there was a lot of people out there, even students that had reached out and said, we do use this wisely and we want to use this wisely. So I digress.
You did not send any students your way.
No, you didn't. I know you didn't.
Just on the business and employability skills, I'm okay with this the way it is. I know I was the one who really pushed back on really wanting it to be a requirement. If we find in the future, once sixth grade is moved in and things are good and they're running smoothly and we want to open up electives to sixth graders, I would really like to see this become a requirement again. I really just think it's that important. So nothing, I'm okay with it as is. I'm just saying in the future, when things are going well, we've worked out the kinks with sixth grade being in the building, I would like to see this eventually come back as a requirement.
One of the things, Crosby, that you'll notice in the course list that we provided last week was that, I don't know what you and Rachel are calling it, we are not adding any new classes. What's your phrase?
Moratorium.
A moratorium
on
on
new
new classes. Just because as we transition to the building, I think they discussed last week, we're not at this point trying to add variables to that. There's already too many variables. With that said, we do anticipate that a large majority of students are going to take this business class because we're not adding other choices for them to take. So when they're looking at, it's unlike the high school where there's so many choices because the building is so much larger and there's so many more students. When you offer the same number of courses, even if we're not making it mandatory, we do anticipate that a majority of our students are still going to enroll in the class.
Okay.
And I would anticipate coming back to the board at the end of the 27-28 school year with any proposed adjustments that we need to make at Parkview, having lived it for a year and knowing what we will know then versus what we know now.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, all of those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Carolyn, would you mind going president's report first and superintendent's report second?
Yes.
Thank you.
So for president's report today, we're going to read a letter from Dale Porter. So, dear MASD community, after much thought and talking with my wife, I have decided to resign from my position on the MASD board to focus on personal matters that require more of my attention. Thank you for putting your trust in me through 3 elections, 2 school board and 1 village. It truly means a lot to me, and I never took it for granted. That was an honor and a privilege to serve you.
I would like to thank our hardworking administrators. They put in more work than people gave credit for. When I drive past the district office and see their cars in the parking lot late into the evening, it shows a strong passion for this community and the desire to work tirelessly for our students and community. Seeing principals and their assistants at countless events to show support for our children is unmatched. Your dedication to students is unmatched. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve our community for the past 4 years. I am proud of the work I put into my position. When I was first elected, our district test scores were on a downward spiral. I am proud to say that we have turned that trend around with collaboration with my fellow board members, administrators, community members, and most of all, our teachers. Asking staff members, how can the board help you? And the responses I received have shaped a lot of what we see today. Not once did a staff member answer that question with anything self-serving. It was always about the students. That speaks volumes of how student-driven our staff is, and is a large part of what makes Mukwonago a high-achieving and destination district. From some of the responses I received were more classroom time with students, get rid of distractions like cell phones, flex time in the high school was a waste of minutes in the day, and classroom behavior. We made changes based off of that fact, and our district scores turned around quicker than I anticipated. Thank you, staff members, for your input, because a board cannot be successful without you or your input. I want to thank my fellow board members for the time they put into a thankless job. I know all decisions are tough, and not everyone will be happy, but you make the best decisions based on the greater good for the majority. Big decisions will be coming soon, and I will pray that the community will try to understand that you have to make really tough decisions based on what will be the most positive outcome for the majority. I hope they always assume good intentions and try to understand that your decisions are coming from a good place. Students first. Thank you all. Dale Porter, go Indians.
All right, superintendent's report.
Thank you. So first off, I do want to thank Dale for his years of service and his leadership on the board. Having been a new superintendent as he stepped in as the board president, I truly appreciate all the guidance, the questions, the ideas that he had. He and I met every Thursday morning, almost every Thursday morning, made sure that he was sharing, and he always did, his insights. We had good conversations along the way as board agendas were developed, as concerns were brought forward and addressed. I do really appreciate Dale, who he is as a man and who he was as a board member. I would like to take a minute to thank our staff and our community and our administrators for the work that they did around the music recommendation that came forward tonight. That process around music began back in January, specifically in January. It took 4 months to come up with a final recommendation. The work around music began before then with our Parkview Steering Committee, and I really want to thank Luke, Lee, Rachel, Angela, Christine, all of the teachers who have served on that committee as they worked to recommend the schedule that you approved this evening. We're confident that the work that went into both of these programs is going to serve us very well in the years to come, and we commit to reviewing those things in the years to come to ensure that we're on the right track. So thank you all.
I'd also like to thank Dale for his service. He had a big heart. He had passion for the kids, and he passion for the teachers, and a very, very good Christian guy. And we're going to miss him, but he'll be fine. So thank you, Dale.
Thanks, Dale.
Thanks, Dale.
One last thing. Sorry, I don't want to make this go on too long, but I also want to thank Dale for everything he did. He put more work into that job than most people would ever know. And it wasn't for the paycheck. There's no way it was for that. So Dale, if you're out there watching or if you look back at this, thanks for everything you did for our community.
All right, we're going to go into executive session, Wisconsin Statute 19.85, to discuss teacher compensation.
Make a motion that we close the open session and go into closed session.
Second.
Jason?
Yes.
Crosby, yes. Mike?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Carolyn?